Okay there, hi there guys, BikeBlogger here. I'm going to install new tires on my Schwalbe Lightning SE bicycle. These are Schwalbe Durano DD, the double Ds. They're very strong, good tires, I recommend them. However, they are a little heavy, so I'm going to go to some lighter tires. These are the Schwalbe Durano, just regular Durano tires. Let the air out of here. Let's open this up. Let all the air out. Press the valve. There we go. Okay. Gotta take the retaining nut off. There we go. Set that down. Make sure we don't lose anything here. Okay, so all the air should be pretty much out. Now we need to take the tire off. We'll go ahead and use a tire lever here. I got a multi-tool. It's a Alien 2, looks like. So yeah, let's go ahead and remove this. Get underneath here and pop it off. This is a folding tire. The tire I'm replacing it with is also a folding tire. And by folding tire, I mean it doesn't have a wire bead in it. So let's see here. Let's just take it off like this. There it comes. Coming right off real easily. Set that down. Try not to lose stuff. Get the tube out there. Now the tire should come off a little more easily. This is a strong tire, so it's giving me a little bit of trouble getting the tire off completely here. But what I was saying is you can just sort of pull this back like that, see? And then you can pull the tube out. There it goes, it slipped out. This is still a good tube, so I'm going to hold on to this tube. We'll just throw it down on the pile of other junk there. Let's take the tire off now. It's just slip right off. There it is. Now an important thing you want to do is make sure, if you can, if the valve body is removable, use a tool like this. This is the Park VC1, or use some pliers and tighten that little. There's a little screw actually underneath here, not on the valve thing that sticks out there, but right here. And you want to make sure that's tightened down. And if you use one of these, it works pretty easily. You can just stick it over it like this, and then just twist. Make sure it's on tight before you go and install this tube. Because if this thing is loose, like let's see if I can loosen it. It does have little notches on it. See, you can sort of see it right here. Anyway, it does have little notches on it, so you could grab it with some pliers and twist it. So let's use this tool, see if we can loosen it off. There it goes, it's loose now. See, so this thing rotates here. You don't want that loose. If that thing is loose, you're gonna have a pop tire like me. I think one of my videos in the past, maybe I'll put a link in the description or something. And I got a pop tire at the bottom of a hill, and I think it was because there was a leak in the valve. And it's because this thing was not on here tight, or tight enough at least. I don't know if it has to be super tight. I don't know if there's even a Newton or foot-pound measurement on how tight it should be, but okay, so it's on there nice and tight. Anyway, so moving on, let's go ahead and pump up this tube a little bit. I got my trusty pump here, the Joe Blow pump. Sport 2 or something like that. Anyway, so we just sort of get it on there. The gray end is for Presta. This is a Presta valve. I'll go ahead and get the locking mechanism in place. Go ahead and pump it up. Okay, pump it up a few times. So now this will make it easier to get it all, it will form to the tire a little better. So wrap this over my back here for a second. Here's the tire. Let's go ahead and get this rubber band off of here. There we go. Yeah, I really do not think I need these gloves, but I don't really have sharp fingernails either, but you want to be careful. You don't want to puncture anything. So here's a folding tire, so it doesn't just pop out, you know, because it doesn't have a wire bead in it. A big thick wire bead in it, like a wire bead tire. So I'll just try and open this up here a little bit. That's good. Okay. So here's our tire. Looking nice, pretty darn lightweight, feels pretty light. Okay, so now the tube is inside the tire. Okay. Now, a lot of tires are directional, so we want to look and see which way is, which way is the correct way this should be rolling, Sometimes you can just look at the tread, it's sort of the spike seems to be going this way, so that it probably rolls this way. But you can usually check along the tire, and they'll usually have like a little rotational symbol or something. Stick it in through the valve hole like that. Okay, so the first step is to just get the first lip of the tire onto the wheel rim. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that, going around here. Being careful not to scratch up my wheel rim too much on the concrete. I mean, maybe it'd be a good idea to do this on the grass, I don't know. I'm just more concerned about creating a little hole in the inner tube, actually, because it is fragile, because it is lightweight. Pretty darn lightweight. Okay, I accidentally went over a little bit here with the tire. I just want one bead or one side in right now, okay? So there we go. I got the one side in, I think, looks like. So now we'll bring it down and look at the other side here. So when you're putting a tire on, you want to make sure that this valve thing here, you want to make sure it can go in and out. Because if it's stuck somewhere, that means some of this extra material, because there is extra material around the valve stem, it could be stuck on to something like the tire or something, and it could, eventually cause it to pop or something. So what you want to do is make sure when you're putting this tube up in here, because we need to get the tube up into the wheel rim. See, I'm pushing it up in there, trying to push it up in without scratching it or anything. You want to make sure this valve is pushed up all the way in here, at least, as far as you can go. I'm going to release some air now, though, because I got it pretty much in where I want it. And now I can get the tube up in here. Just get it up and over the lip of the wheel rim, the metal surface here of the wheel. So I'm just going to push it in like this. Now, some tires are really difficult to install, like that Durano DD I took off was actually pretty darn hard to install. You can use zip ties and stuff to hold the tire in place when you're getting that second bead on. Right now I'm just prepping this so I can get the second bead on. I just want to make sure I get the tube all the way down into the rim, or at least over the hump into the rim. Make sure we can still move this. That is critical. That's good. I think we're okay now, so I think we got it in there real nice. Now, of course, when you're out on the road, I don't really think it's that critical that you do this super right. Although if you only have one spare tire or tube, you don't want it to break on you, so you want to take your time. It'll probably take you at least 5, 10, maybe even 15 minutes to replace a tube on the road, but it'll get you back home. That's what really matters. I like to start, when I put the second bead in, I like to start opposite of the valve. I think the main thing is when you're installing the second section of tire and getting the second lip onto the wheel here, you just don't want to end at the valve. So for instance, when I'm getting this second part of the tire onto the wheel, I don't want to start at the valve, because by the time you get around over here, it'll be hardest to get it on the wheel. However, you can make things easier for yourself, and for safety reasons so it doesn't pop on you, you do want to make sure that this valve is pushed up almost all the way anyway. So, but But I'll just start on the opposite side of the valve. I don't know if that makes it really easier or harder, but so see, I'm just feeding the tire onto the wheel rim. It's going on pretty good. Oh yeah, and I apologize. I've been wanting to do some more actual riding videos. I'm going to be doing that, but I've been out of town, and it's been really hot, you know, and it's even more hot when you have a camera strapped to your body. But I'm not making any excuses, though. I'm going to be doing more videos here shortly of me riding around town, because I know that's what a lot of people like. But I also do some of these instructional videos, so you can check out some other instructional videos by me. I got a playlist, a how-to playlist, I think. I also got a playlist on my different bikes and stuff, I think. Or I'm going to be producing one. So yeah, this is going on pretty darn easily. Of course, when I get to the end, it's going to be a little more difficult. And if you are having a really difficult time getting this last section on, as most people do, just sort of work the tire like this and sort of get yourself more material by just pushing it up like this. And you just got to keep doing that, and you will eventually be able to get it. And like I said, for some tires that are really difficult, that have really, you know, firm sidewalls, the side part of the tire here, you know, use zip ties to hold it in place. Maybe even every section of spokes you get past, you know, you might just have to do that, you know. But like I said, push this valve up, give yourself more to work with, and also make sure it doesn't get pinched. All right, so it does sometimes take, you know, it sometimes is not, you know, it's nothing magical about it. It sometimes just does take strength. Do not use a tool to mount a tire, because you're going to end up destroying it pretty much. So there's different ways you can go about it. I just turned it around. Now I'm sort of pulling like this. There, it just popped on there, just fine. So now I got it on. I got the tire on. So first thing I want to check is make sure this valve can move in and out. Okay, it's a little rough, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. As long as I can move it up and down. Up and down. Okay. Yeah, I think it's all right. Okay, so now I'm going to stand up. Next thing we do is we want to put a little bit of air in this tire, and make sure, actually what I probably want to do first is take that retaining nut, this thing here, and pull the valve down all the way. Let's see, there we go. Pull it down all the way and install the screw on the retaining nut like that. Pull down on the stem. You don't have to pull real hard, but pull down. Okay, open up the valve. We're going to put air into the tube now. So let's go ahead and do that. Got the gray side on this pump. And let's put a little bit of air in. I'm going to put in, you know, just enough to give it a little bit of form. You know, 3 pumps, that's all I'm going to do right now. And take this off, make sure the valve's shut. I, of course, have not pumped it up to the recommended pressure yet. So make sure everything's on nice and tight. So, okay, so first thing I want to do, or the next thing I want to do here is I just want to check it. You know, like if I spin it here, see if I can do this. There we go. I got to sort of look this way though. And you'll make sure that there's no like lumps in it. Like, you know, if it were to, it looks okay to me. It looks like it's rolling pretty straight. If it were rolling and then it would be, you know, like to exaggerate it, like on a Looney Tunes episode or something, if we're rolling and then it would go bump, you know, and then bump, and then bump, you know, then obviously something is not even, and there's probably, you know, your tube is probably stuck underneath the lip of the tire, stuck between that and the rim here, the metal surface, the wheel rim there, or something. So, all right, so I think it's all right. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to let a little bit of air out, just a little bit. I'm going to close off the valve again, screw it back down. Now I'm going to go around the whole tire on both sides and see if I can see my red rim strip. So I'm going to pull this back, get in the light a little bit, pull this back, see there's the red. So I'm going to go around and make sure I can see the red all the way around my tire. And if I can, then I know that the tube is all the way up in this tire. You know, so I know it's not stuck between the metal rim and the rubber tire. It's actually all the way up in there, which is what we want. So just going all the way around, looking good so far. I'm pretty confident that I did this well. Now, of course, it will bunch up more here, and that's why you want to make sure that this stem can go up and down. You can move it up and down when the retaining nut, of course, is not on here. But I just want to make sure I can still see a little bit of red. Yeah, that's okay. So now I'm going to flip it around here. I think I went all the way around and checked. Looks good to me. So now I'm going to check on this side, on the other side. I'm going to check around the stem. Looks good. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way around the tire again. Again, it takes a little bit of strength. You just want a little bit of air, though, in the tube. So it's looking good, looking good, looking good. Go all the way around. This is pretty darn time consuming. This is being like extra careful, and I would recommend being extra careful like this when you're installing a fragile piece of, you know, tube or tire, just to make sure, double check, triple check to make sure it's not gonna, you know, cause problems for you. Boy, there's not a lot of tread. There's a little bit of tread on the sides here, so it should be pretty low rolling resistance. Just enough tread for some grip, though. It's nice looking. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I still have not pumped this up to the recommended pressure. So what is the recommended pressure? Well, you got to look on the side of your tire for that. So let's go around and see what we can see. So there's that rotation thing. It says it goes this way. And when I install it, I'll install it like this. So it is on the right way. How much does that really matter, the direction in which the tread is on the tire? I don't know. I like to make sure it is pointed the right direction, though. So this says the recommended pressure is 85 to 115 psi. So I usually just pump it all the way up to the recommended maximum, which is 115 psi here. So that's what we'll do. So let's go ahead and pump it up. You can see here that getting it up there, I'm already at 40, 42 psi. It's getting pretty high now. I'm up to 60 psi. I'm almost halfway to the recommended pressure. So now what I just want to do, I'm going to take this off again. Now that I got it like halfway full, tighten it down, tighten down that retaining nut. Things are moving around in there. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to spin this wheel. So let's go ahead and, let's not drop the pump there. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Okay, so we're going to look at the tire. We're looking at like, okay, it's spinning pretty darn fast now. I'm looking at the top of the tire here. I want to make sure that it's not like wobbling. You know, I want to make sure it's going in a circle, not like an oval, you know, like it's like loop, 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 you know. And it looks like it's moving pretty straight. Some of the wobbling might have to do with alignment in your bike. That's beyond this video. But in terms of just the tire being pumped up, it looks pretty good to me, and it looks pretty safe, and I feel fairly confident that I can pump this tire up to the maximum pressure without causing it to pop and scare the heck out of me. I've had that happen a couple times with the Schwalbe Marathon Plus, the big, beefy tires, and that's where you need to be sort of careful like this when you're pumping up a bike. So let's go ahead and pump this up to the maximum now. You sort of watch it here, so I'm pumping it up. And if it blows up in my face, this will probably be a viral video on YouTube. I think everything will be fine. Okay, so we're at about 110. Let's keep going a little further. I think we're about at the maximum right now. You can see there it's like about 115, which is the maximum recommended PSI pressure for the tire. The tube, of course, is sized for this tire, a 25 millimeter tire. And we're going to go over that here in a second. So I think it's all installed. It's looking good. Let me go back over real quick since this almost really was sort of an unboxing video. So this is the Schwalbe Durano, just Durano, basic Durano tire, 25 millimeter wide, 245 grams, plus I have a 65 gram tube, a Schwalbe Extralight SV20 in there. So we'll be riding around on this bike, and I know I've been talking about I need to do videos on my other bikes with the bike mirror and the bar ends on the other bike, and now on this bike we'll be doing a test video on these tires, so I need to get out there and do that. So thanks for watching. That's how you install a new tube and a new tire in your bike. And again, like I said, I had a video on setting tension for a single speed bike with track ends like this bike. And that does it. Thanks for watching. And hey, of course, don't forget your dust cap.